Hello, it's Paul Angus from the United Kingdom, and I got some great information for you today. Today is the 18th of August 2026. But before I tell you about my business opportunity, which I call my Quiet Solution, which is a fabulous home income system, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, just two questions really. So if you see me look down at my notes, you'll know that I'm just reading some of my notes here. Number one, I want to ask you these questions, but is the point of a home-based business to give you a solution? That's the reason why we get into business, we buy a business, is to have a solution. You know, people think about, oh, it's to get this money, it's to get that money. No, it isn't. It's to get a solution. That's why we buy anything in life, is to get a solution. What's that solution for? What could it be or should it be for? In my view, it should be for cash flow. Going into business is great. However, if it takes you 3, 6, 9, 12 months or longer to see any kind of cash flow out of that business, it's such a long time, which is one of the main reasons that people stop. So number one was the point of a business is really to give you a solution. Would you agree? To cash flow. I would certainly agree on that. The second one is, would you pay less than £100 if you're in the UK, or $129 outside the UK, anywhere else in the world, USD, part-time, one time, that's the most important thing, one time, if that gave you a solution. It's a very small amount when you think about it to get into business. Less than £100, $129 one time, if that gave you a solution to say, to help you earn an extra $2,000. Cash flow. Think about that for a second. Less than 100, if that 100 turned into 2,000 over a reasonable period of time, would that be worth it for a complete business? Nothing more to pay out, no upgrades, no gotchas, no monthly fees. It's usually a yes. It would be, wouldn't it? So I find that by asking those questions, those two simple questions, it removes all the excuses why people say, oh, I would, but, if only, but, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'm sure you've heard those sort of things before. So I'd like to welcome you to my Quiet Solution, and I think you're going to enjoy what you hear today, certainly if you get involved. But first, I'd like to give you an income disclaimer. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme by any means. Any earnings examples shared here are for illustration purposes only and do not guarantee any form of specific results. Your success in this business, like any other business, will depend on your own efforts, commitment, and circumstances. Everyone's results are generally different. But what I can say is this. Every time I return to my Quiet Solution, it has always continued to generate real income for me. No points, not credits, not promises, actual income. So the income we make here is a minimum of $100. Now, if you're living in the UK, based on currency exchanges, that would be between 75 to 80 pounds. So it's not a business that will say, well, it only pays me £20, £30. No, it's a minimum of £75 or $100. So it's real money. In this update, I'm going to cover how, by returning to this simple affiliate business that I've got here, that I call my Quiet Solution, I went from struggling on a government pension. I'm actually a senior citizen. I'm 67 years of age. But just in a few weeks, not months, not years, just in a few weeks, I went from struggling to earning an extra $2,000 so far in cash flow. Real money, not screen money. That's why I gave you that figure. That's the whole point. It wasn't an example of somebody else. It's an example of what's happened to me in the last few weeks. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. That's the fact. But back in 2019, I discovered this income system, and it helped me to generate some extra money. In fact, it actually helped me to upgrade my car around the Christmas time. My previous car was dying to death. And you'll see that that upgrade testimonial featured in the company presentation. They liked it so much they kept it in, and I was quite pleased with that. But what a difference! And I upgraded my car within 3 months. So this is a business that can work very quickly for you if you work it. But like many people, I got distracted on other ventures that were promising higher rewards. But as usual, it didn't pay out, and it gets quite frustrating, doesn't it? That's why I returned to my quiet solution. To me, it just makes perfect sense. Since returning, as I say, just a few weeks ago, it's kept paying me real money, as I like to call it, not screen money. So several of these keep coming, every week, which is quite nice. And you convert that into sterling. It allows you to do the things you sometimes can't always do when the time comes, like filling your car up with fuel because you've got to wait for payday, buying maybe a Chinese takeaway without counting the cost, paying for a school uniform because the kids are going to go back to school in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, but we haven't got that money at the moment. So having that cash flow could certainly do that. But think about that amount of money, $100 every time someone says yes to our business, and I can assure you they say yes quite often. So from my point of view, would that $100, £75, as it keeps coming in time and time and time again, would that help? I certainly would think it would. But my goal when I first started back just a few weeks ago, my goal was a realistic one. I said, if I could make an extra $500 in my first month, my first 4 weeks, that would be something, because that's still £400 in the UK. So it's an extra £100 a week on top of my pension. Pensions in the UK, as you know, they don't pay a lot. They never have done, never will do. And it's a struggle. And, people think that just because you're a pensioner, you're going to, retire with some sort of nest egg. It doesn't work that way. Generally, we end up struggling on 30% less than we've been struggling on for the last 15, 20, 30 years. So my goal was realistic. I thought if I could do an extra, 500, would that make a difference? But by the time I got, to the end of my first month, it was an eye-opener for me. Now, just looking at this little screenshot here, the minimum, as I said, we get paid is $100. What if it was $100 a month? An extra $100 a month. What would that do for most people? The reality is, it would do a lot. It would fill the car. It would buy the groceries. As I said, it would buy a takeaway. It would do lots of things without dipping into your income, because that's already spoken for. But what if it was not just once a month? What if it was once a week, and you had that extra coming in once a week? What if it was once a day, twice a day? You can see by that photograph how this income could actually really expand. So as a part-time business, it's really, really good. But as I said, my focus at that time was to wonder if I can get an extra 5 people to enroll with me, because every time someone enrolls, it's $100 paid directly from them to me. No company payments waiting on that, no wallets that never seem to materialize. You can't get your money out. So the new member pays you directly, which is great. But I thought, if I can get an extra 500, wouldn't that be something? Well, by the end of the first 4 weeks, I didn't get 500. But someone said, what did you get, 600? No. I got an extra 900. 900 just by returning to this program that I started back in 2019 and keep avoiding because other things take priority. Now, what I found after that first 4 weeks, I can really assure you, for those of you that know me, that made a big difference. And the last year and a half has been extremely stressful. I've been involved in another business that I walked away from back in March, unfortunately, but it didn't pan out. But what it did give me was an awful lot of stress. And if you're in that position yourself, it takes time to get over that. But coming back into this business where it was a cash flow business, and I could see things happening, because we need something to help us from this week into next week, from next week into the week after, and so forth, until we get paid again, either our salary or our pension. And that made a big difference. But I found that after 4 weeks, I was stress-free, and the money was good, but so was not having that kind of stress. So personally, I'm a lot happier than I was. And since then, in those last few weeks, it's moved on. Because I said, what if you earned one a month, or one a week? Would that be quite nice? Or one a day? Wouldn't that be something? Now, yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? Because one a day is $3,000 a month. That works out £2,350 a month on top of what you're already earning now. Would that be useful to you? Of course it would. Someone said, yeah, but I bet it's really hard to get one a day, isn't it? Well, it could be if you sit back and do nothing. But if you work this simple business the way it's created and designed, you'll find it makes a big difference. Because what I never thought would happen just maybe two or 3 weeks ago was I didn't have a $100 day. I had a $400 day. So in with this business, I've had, and at the time you can see that I'd made a total of 1,300. That's gone up now. It's now at the moment, as we speak today, it's 2,000. I already have a man that's contacted me this morning and says, this looks really good. I think this is going to be for me. So today that could be another 100. But I personally, made 100, 200 a day, 300 a day, and that 400 a day. What a surprise. I only came back a handful of weeks ago. So you never know what's going to happen. And is that working 10 or 15 hours a day? No, I work between 1 to 4 hours a day. I don't work every day. And as those of you that know me and members that are already involved know that I don't work weekends. I think weekends should be for your personal time, for yourself and your family. Even when you're retired, I still look forward to weekends. So why do people keep joining this business? Why do you think? Because they can see that this is a real solution. An extra 1 to 500 a month would be really useful. Not millions. Let's stop talking about the silly money that we've all been encouraged to talk about over the last couple of years. Did it show up? No, of course it didn't. More fool us, eh? But sometimes you only learn by your mistakes. And, I don't mind making mistakes as long as we put them right. And that's what I've personally done here. I said, I want to put this right. I'm going to go back to my quiet solution because it always does it. I can work quietly at my desk where I'm sitting at the moment, and I know it's going to be a financial solution. The money's going to keep coming. It makes a big difference. Now, the reason people keep joining is it's an easy decision. It's a real easy decision. The price is low. As I said, it's under £100. It's only $129 one time only. The work is really simple. Seriously, it's really simple. And it's a one-time join. It's a one-time enrollment. And I found I just followed the system. 3 simple tasks repeated every day, if you're able to do it every day. But for me, repeated every day, that started the money to come in again. And as you can see, it really did start to come in. And in our members area, you'll see pictures like this. I love these. That's why I took a screenshot and I had it printed. It's on my wall normally, so it reminds me that this works. 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. And if you look at some of those, next to it, it tells you how long ago. Obviously, this is from a couple of days, few days ago. I got paid 23 minutes ago, 1 day ago, 3 days ago, 7 days ago, 11 days ago, 11 days ago. So that was a $200 day. 16 days ago, a month ago, that's another $200 day. So it's quite exciting when you see that. Now, imagine what that could do for you. That any additional income while you're waiting for your salary or your pension to be paid in every 4 weeks. Now, that would cover things like car payments, emergency repairs, new appliances that you've been wanting to buy, meals out. How often do people go out for meals these days? Nowhere near as often as they used to. Nowhere near. Holidays. If you ask someone, you're going to go on holiday? Well, I would, but this year's been real tough. Isn't that a familiar sound? This year's been real tough. Or special purchases that you've put off, that you just wanted to get, but you just couldn't do it. Personally, we've all got goals, haven't we? We all want things, but if I could just get something that actually works, where I don't have to rely on loads of other people, I don't have to build teams, I don't have to do all the stuff. Now, I've had 45 years in network marketing. I like network marketing. I've retired from network marketing now. I'm no longer in network marketing in any shape or form. I just do one thing, which is my quiet solution. Because why? It works. If you find something that works, why keep looking elsewhere? Just be content with something that works. And that first 100, I remember I got my first $100 back in 2019. Took me about 3 or 4 days once I learned what to do. And I just want to learn this quick. Let's get this going. I had a job at the time, driving a van. Didn't pay very well. That's why I needed a new car. But when I got that first $100, that was it. Because I thought, pretty much that's my money back. the $129, 29's for admin. They deserve that. You won't believe what you're going to get inside our members area for that $29. We don't even pay for our website hosting. It's brilliant. The other $100 comes to you. Commission comes to me. But when I got that first 100, my belief system went through the roof. And then I got a second and third. And I think back in 2020, I'd earned $200 twice because I'd gone back to it. And then I got distracted again. But, we've all got goals, as I say. But for me, I currently have two main goals. And my own wedding is going to be in 2028. I need to save for that. And the other one is for a passion I've had for quite a while now. I've always wanted to get my pilot's license. So I'm going to take flying lessons, which are around about £195 for an hour, in a gyroplane. Now, a gyroplane, for those of you that don't know, looks a little bit like a helicopter, but it's smaller, but it's much safer, and it's actually a lot easier to fly than a helicopter or a light aircraft, which was something I thought I would do years ago. I've flown a light aircraft a couple of times with somebody, but I just thought, when I saw these gyroplanes, I thought, wow, these can take off in a short distance. They can land literally on a tennis court, and I thought, what a great way to get around. Now, am I going to go and buy a brand new one of those? Of course not. They're around about 100,000 to 140,000. But how else am I going to get it? I could lease it. With this money that keeps coming in, it's getting bigger and bigger. Back in 2019, I was looking to make an extra 1 to 500, and I did. I made a bit more than that. I come back in 2020. I came back again in 2023, I think it was, 23 or 24. And here we go. I started doing it again from about November until January time, when I got distracted again in 2025, and I made another 3,000. So would this bring in the cash flow that I need to give me the pilot's license that I've always anchored for? And if I get that pilot's license, what I'm considering doing is having extra lessons and becoming an instructor. I quite fancy that. Yes, I'm 67 years of age, but I'm convinced that I will have my pilot's license and I'll be an instructor way before I'm 70 years of age. Why? Because it'll keep me in the air where I want to be, and it'll also give me an additional income by teaching people how to fly. What I do at the moment is teach people how to make cash flow. I've been teaching for 45 years. I enjoy it. I love it. I think what a great way to earn your money, by helping somebody else. And I just think that's going to be brilliant. So, whatever goals you've got, start thinking about them again, because it's not an impossibility anymore if you find something that gives you a real solution, something that works. This business has been going since 2018. It's proven, and it works. And the company behind what I do, this simple affiliate program, has never changed the income plan. It's always been $100 to us. So for me, that's been in it on and off for a while now, everyone that joins me, I know is going to get paid me $100. If you're brand new today and you get started this week, by the end of the week, you could have that $100. We get paid the same. I like that. There's no tier system. So this business is simple, straightforward, and it's been proven since 2018. I've had a really busy the last 11 days, and I probably could have earned quite a bit more. But there was something I really wanted to do. I like helping and support people. So when someone joins me, it's not a case of, oh, here it is, you go do it. It's here it is, let's go do it. And I learned that off my mentor and a fabulous person called Jim Rohn. Let's go do it is much better than you go do it. So I've just opened up my own private school community. And for those of you that have used school before, it's a great platform. It's nice. But I wanted a private community, which is really for the members of my Quiet Solution. It's taken me 11 days to build it, and it looks absolutely great. I've never built a school community before. I've been involved in one, but other people who are far cleverer than me have always built it. So in the last 11 days, I've surprised myself, and I'm really pleased with what I've produced. I think you will be very pleased with what I've produced. It's packed with everything you need to help you and your members. And the good thing about it, everything you need is in one place. So you can go to our school community and say it's all in there, have discussions, ask for help. People can put their information in there. So I really hope you found this information I've given you today on my video very, very helpful, and I hope that it's helped you to find your quiet solution that you've been looking for, because people are looking for a solution but they don't know what it is they want. I've got offered in the last, today's Tuesday, isn't it? In the last 4 days, I've been offered trading platforms, I've been offered percentages, 1% a day, this sort of thing, different crypto things. I've been offered all kinds of things. And all those are money in the distance. What good is that money to me in 3, 6, 9 months' time? Yes, it's useful, but what about now? What about this week? What about next week? What about the week after? This is what people really want. So I think this is definitely what you've been looking for. It's certainly what I've been looking for. Am I going to get distracted again? Absolutely not. So, no. I know what works, and I love the way it works. It's just, when you get results like these, proof is better than, what if. I don't play the what if game anymore. So to see our company presentation, the company behind who pays me the money, get back to the person who showed you this video and ask them to show me the company presentation. It looks really good. And you'll see from that presentation, it is very good. There's no pressure, there's no chasing, there's no convincing, just a solution. And I think that's hopefully what you've been looking for. So the reality is you can get started today. Why think about it? I've just shown you enough proof. I asked you the two main questions, didn't I? If you're going to get into business, what are you looking for? A solution to what? To my financial problems, my time problems. I don't have enough time. I can't go and get a part-time job. Of course you can't. But you can do half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening before you go to bed. You can do 1 or 2 hours a day. As I said, I do 1 to 4 hours a day because I'm retired and I want something to do. Do I work every day? No. Do I work weekends? No. We'll work that out. When you see what people are doing, they're working 8, 10, 12 hours a day sometimes, and they're waiting for their day off. Life could be better, and it should be. So you could get started today for under £100, $129, one time only. And I'd like you to feel free to use this video to show other people that are looking for their quiet solution. It's a very frustrating world out in the home-based business market. We don't know what we should be doing. What have you got to lose here? Nothing. If you come in and do hardly anything over time, so one person's going to join you. You're going to get your $100 back. $29 is admin fee. But why would you do that when you could earn 100 a month, 100 a week, 100 a day, 200 a day, 300 a day, 400 a day? I couldn't believe that day. That was amazing. I hadn't left home that day. That was still £300 for being at home. Could it be more than 400 a day? Of course it can. If it could be 400, it could be 1,000. What's the factor? Time. I'm placing more adverts, which is what our company promotes us and help us do. And the more I'm doing these simple 3 tasks, we've only got 3 tasks we do every day. It's a simple 1, 2, 3 business. The more we do that, the more it accumulates. Does that sound good to you? Sounds good to me. So feel free to use this video because it will help other people. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get the next video. So with that being said, I thank you very much for your time today, and I really look forward to hearing from you, seeing you, and hearing your stories. Okay, take care, and I look forward to welcoming you into my Quiet Solution and into our new school platform. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.